Peace, family, peace, peace, peace. Okay, so I have been studying consumer law, right? I started out in October, and it was a few parts of me that felt like, you know what, I'm gonna leave it alone. When I would get a letter or something like that, that was not, it didn't seem like it was in my favor. But one of the things that I have to understand is that everything that we tend to come across, it is always working for the greater good. And if I could share something with you guys, it would be this. Okay, this book right here, the Prosperity Bible. I am right now reading Wallace D. Wattler's The Science of Getting Rich. And when I tell you everything is interconnected, everything is interconnected. First off, I believe that your mind has to be right in order for you to manifest, because what it's really about is about manifestation. Okay. And if your mind isn't right, there's no way that the results that you expect to get from consumer law is going to be beneficial or in your favor, because you have this notion of, that is not real, or you have this notion that there's a such thing as, money. And although, we use the greenbacks, the Federal Reserve notes, there's really not money, there's paper. Okay. And I constantly, I'm telling myself that as well, right? But one of the things that you want to understand is when I say everything is interconnected, everything is connected. For instance, right here. So this part right here, this little, I guess, mantra you want to say, right? I read this every night before I go to bed and first thing in the morning, denials and affirmations. Okay. And this is really helpful. Okay. For any denials or any denials that you tend to receive, you have to understand that no one could deny you. Okay. People could say, oh, well, this, or, you're not accepted, or whatever it is like that, or we don't accept this, whatever. But one of the things that I love right here is for prosperity, God is my unfailing supply, and large sums of money come to me quickly under grace and perfect ways. And these are like just different things for right conditions, for faith and for health, eyesight, guidance, and for hearing. Okay. You have to understand that you are not here by yourself. Okay. That you are not here by yourself. And it was a part that I wanted to read. If I could find it. So this is my second time reading this book. I mean, this part right here. And my plan is to read it 7 times, a total of 7 times, or I'll probably read it longer, just so it could be embedded in my subconscious mind. Okay. Uh, I just had it. Oh, and another thing that really got me with this book, because I know some of us has been programmed to think that having a lot of money is wrong or is sin, or the more money you have, the evil you become, and just all this nonsense. Okay. And one of the things that, I understand, like, from reading this book is what really got me with this, well, Wallace Wallace, section, The Science of Getting Rich, when he said, by you becoming wealthy, okay, you are working in the favor of God, because God, we have to understand that God is within. Okay. God is not outside of us, God is within. Okay. And by us becoming wealthy, it's like we get to express ourselves more. Okay. We get to live in a sense where as though it's not, you know, poor. I don't know, like, who wants to be, poor or anything like that. And some people would try to put you on the guilt trip, honey, because you are, and let me tell you something, poor is a mindset, okay? And wealth is like a mindset. Being rich is a mindset, okay? And so when people come and say, oh, well, well, you shouldn't want this and you shouldn't want that, you should be, you should just be satisfied with what you have. Our spirit is always looking for ways to expand, is always looking for ways to grow, to become even better than what we were. And if you are hanging around anybody that's telling you less than, honey, I advise you to stop hanging around them, okay? Because you're going to stay exactly where you are. And I make no excuse for me wanting and becoming wealthy. I make no excuse for that, okay? So, getting back to it. And when I don't know certain words, I just write the words down here, okay? And I look it up because this helps me strengthen my vocabulary. Okay, so if I don't know words, I put it right here. Then is a quote over here by Wallace Wattles: "Become great man and woman by overcoming worry, anxiety, and fear." But this was the part that I really wanted to talk about. Okay, you are to become a creator, not a competitor. You are going to get what you want, but in such a way that when you get it, every other man will have more than he has now. I am aware that there are men who get a vast amount of money by proceeding in direct opposition to the statements in the paragraph above. And I may add a word of explanation here. Men of the plutocratic type who become very rich do so sometimes purely by their extraordinary ability on the plane of competition. And sometimes they unconsciously relate themselves to substance and its great purposes and movements of the general racial upbuilding through industrial revolution. Rockefeller, Carnegie, Morgan, etc. have been the unconscious agents of the supreme in the necessary work of systemizing and organizing productive industry. And in the end, they work will contribute immensely towards increased life for all. Their day is nearly over. They have organized production and will soon be succeeded by the agents of the multitude who will organize the machinery of distribution. Okay. One of the things that I absolutely love, let me just finish reading this. Okay, the multimillionaires are like the monster reptiles of the prehistoric eras. They play a necessary part in the evolutionary process, but the same power which produced them will dispose of them. And it is well to bear in mind that they have never been really rich. A record of the private lives of most of this class will show that they have really been the most object and wretched of the poor. Okay. When I read this, okay, I was like, I needed to look up Wallace Wattles, okay, because I was like, what? And when I tell you everything is interconnected, and the part that really got me when he was like Rockefeller, Carnegie, and Morgan, like they time is up and stuff. Honey, don't mind the scarf. Okay. One of the things that is so helpful, and I share this a lot because I really want someone else to get it, okay, is read and read and read it. I know we have all heard, if you want to hide something, mainly they would say people of color, okay? If you want to hide something from a person of color, which they would say, if you want to hide something from the nigga, put it in a book, okay? When you start reading, okay, is things that are put in books that, for me, like, if I wouldn't ever got this book, and I'm not saying like I would never probably came across the information, but I'm just grateful that I did get this book because it's times where as though I'm reading a book and it's reminding me, right? It's almost like like we know this stuff already, right? About wealth and how everything is within and all this other stuff. It's like we know these things already. And it's just like getting back to the basics is really like getting back to understanding or remembering, right? Because everything that we come across that stands out as truth, the reason why we feel so connected to it or relate so much to it is because it's like it's bringing something out of us that's like, oh my goodness, this feels so right and it sounds so good, right? And you may be like, "Bo, I don't know why it sounds so right, why it feels so good, or whatever it is." It's because there's something within you that always knew this truth already. Okay? Is and when we make a covenant, like when we come here, okay, I had got my past life regression done, okay, a few years ago. But when we come here, it's like the time that we come here, we came here for a purpose. Like we agreed to come here. We agreed to we have a contract, right? For us to come here, the time that we came here, for us to do the work, for us to the purpose, the passion, and everything that we have within ourselves, it all goes back to that contract. And so when I say everything that you may have been faced with, every adversity that you have been, faced with, everything that you had endured, okay, those things are always for the greater good. Because let me tell you something, no one can kill spirit. No one can kill spirit, okay? You may have been abused or whatever it is, like as a child, but your spirit, it can stand the test of time. It can go through that, okay? You are not your body. And that's something that we have to understand. And I constantly, Dina, you are not your body. You are not your body. Even when I'm looking in the mirror, it's like, Dina, you are not that, okay? And I just wanted to come on here real quick because I was like really, as I'm reading, I'm like, oh my goodness, let me do a video on this. So I encourage you guys to get this book, okay? The book right now is $17. It was, I thought it was 24, but I looked and it said 23. But right now it's $17 off of Amazon. And infuse yourself with this information, right? Because one of the things that I had heard so much was if you want to change your life, you have to change your routine. So if you're a person that don't like your life, for me, what I constantly do is I constantly listen to inspirational stuff to change the programming. I'm constantly putting myself, putting my nose, so to speak, in a book, okay? To change the programming, to change, how my life is the way my life is. I believe and I know that I deserve more. Okay? And that's what you have to understand for your life. You deserve more. Okay? And you can see it. Like I remember when I used to run track as a little girl, right? It's like you always want more. And not in a sense like greed or anything, but it's like if you run, you want to run quicker, you want to run faster because it's a part of you that know that you have unlimited potential. It's just you getting past the ego, all right? Which one of the things that I love that Wayne Dyer said, he said ego actually means it's an acronym for edging God out, okay? Etching, is it edging or etching? Moving God out the way, okay? And so with that being said, I love you guys and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. Okay, another part over here that really got me, okay. Riches secured on a competitive plane are never satisfactory and permanent. They are yours today and another's tomorrow. Remember, if you are to become rich in a scientific and certain way, you must rise entirely out of the competitive thought. You must never think for a moment that the supply is limited. Just as soon as you begin to think that all the money is being cornered and controlled by bankers and other and others, and that you must exert yourself to get laws passed to stop this process and so on. In that moment, you drop into the competitive mind, and your power to cause creation is gone for the time being. And what is worse, you will probably arrest the creative movements you have already instituted. So when I had read this part before already, right, and what did it for me when Wallace talks about the bankers, like everything is really what we tell ourselves. Okay, if you really feel like that there's not enough to go around, like even far as we have heard about there's a shortage on food and all this other stuff, right? But how could there possibly be a shortage of food when Gaia is constantly have seeds where as though the fruits and everything is constantly growing until man is, you know, playing Frankenstein. Okay. Okay. But even in that sense, right, is let me tell you something. We all have the ability to accept or reject. Whatever it is that's showing up or whatever it is that people are talking about, you do not have to accept that for your life. You get what I'm saying? Like, if somebody is saying like, oh well, it is gonna be another financial crash or whatever it is like that. I remember listening to Zig Ziglar, and one of the things I had heard him say was that during the Great Depression, okay, when he was a kid, he said that there were millionaires that were being produced during the Great Depression. So it's all according to your mindset. It's all